Okay, the next speaker, we have David Bicky. He's from the Civilian Review Authority. He's a board member, so give it up for David Bicky.
Well, I should say first I was a board member of the Civilian Review Authority. Thank you for this opportunity to speak in support of Fong Lee's family and to talk about what could have been done to prevent this tragedy. We need ways to bring discipline and accountability to the Minneapolis police and ways to identify problem officers before they kill someone. One of these ways could be an independent civilian review of the police. Now, civilian review has been a demand of people in many cities in response to police violence. Here in Minneapolis, about 20 years ago, there were several instances of police brutality and racism that led to the kind of community outrage that we see here today. That anger led to the formation of the Civilian Review Authority, the CRA, which is supposed to be an independent body of citizens to investigate complaints of police misconduct. That was an important victory won by the people of Minneapolis. But as soon as the anger died down and the resistance faded, the police union, and the city government went to work to make sure the Civilian Review Authority had no real authority. It has never been properly funded, it was not given subpoena power, and most importantly, its recommendations for discipline are only recommendations. So I joined the CRA in 2008. I wanted to be part of the solution by doing the work of the CRA and also by working to make the CRA more effective. Well, the city didn't like that, and I was kicked off the CRA last winter. But while I was on the board, I saw how the city and the police stonewalled all our efforts. We know that we need an organization that can do an independent investigation, independent of the police department. We've seen what the Internal Affairs Department did in the Fong Lee case. It was a whitewash. They didn't even talk to many of the witnesses. You also know we need discipline, but the CRA can only sustain a case, that's saying that it has validity, and send it back to, you guessed it, the police chief to decide if there will be any discipline. We also need these independent investigations to be public, but the laws are set up to keep everything private unless the officer is disciplined. And so that gives the police department even more incentive not to issue any discipline, no matter how minor. Last fall, the CRA issued a report that documents the problem. In a year and 9 months, the CRA sustained 25 cases of police misconduct. Only 3 of those cases led to any discipline at all. After 21 months of staff investigations, deliberations by the Civilian Review Board, after all that time and work, the result was 3 letters of reprimand. That's it. That's intolerable. This is the report here. And, the report also points out that the police department hasn't done anything about the cops who have lied to the CRA. Now, the latest attempt to fire Jason Andersen comes as based on his lying to the CRA about the more recent case from Crystal. Well, I certainly hope that Jason Andersen will be off the street for good. But the city and the CRA has no credibility because they've never done anything about this in the past. The CRA just isn't given that authority. So, and the city leadership doesn't care. As long as we don't get out of hand, they're fine with the way things are. What they want is to make sure that the police have all the power they need to keep people in their place and to target people of color. They want the police to have the power to maintain the status quo in the existing order. So we need to check on that power. Either the CRA needs to be strengthened and reformed, or we need to get rid of it and find some other way to prevent future killings. This must never happen to another family. So thanks for coming out today. You are the only power that can bring about justice.
Thank you. When I say we want, you say justice. We want justice. Please give it to Psycho. He's a poet and he's a community activist, and he's also part the Justice for Fong Lee Committee. Please give it up to him.